welcome back to our How to Survive Music School vlog series. I'm Claire.
I'm Wade.
We're the Argonath Duo, and today we are talking about the importance of practice.
From the beginning.
So, when you get to music school, for most of you, except for those of you who went to places like Interlochen, this will be the first time that you've been in a completely immersive music environment.
Absolutely.
You know, music is no longer that thing that you do after school. Music is the thing that you do all day, every day.
All the time.
And it can be really overwhelming. There's a ton of classes that you have to take, especially your freshman year.
Oh, yes.
Music theory, ear training, and there's tons of homework and work. But what we're telling you is that from the very beginning, every single day, you need to figure out when you're practicing.
Yes, absolutely. If you have a school where you sign up for practice rooms, that's kind of a blessing in disguise because it's like these are the 2 hours or however many hours that you have to be there. And then you should probably find some extra time too to go.
So figure out how the practice rooms work at your school immediately. I know most schools have practice room shortages depending on where you are, so it can be competitive. So figure out when the peak times of practice are, and then figure out when you can be there not at those times. I know
Right.
at Peabody, my teacher, Mr. Sang, made the key to his studio available to us in the mornings and evenings when he wasn't there teaching. So we were able to use that. If depending on where your living situation is, check out if you're able to practice at home. That can be helpful. Make sure if you're in an apartment that your building doesn't have any noise ordinances. You know, maybe take some cookies to your neighbors and be like, hey, I'm a music student. You might hear things occasionally. But basically find out where and when you can practice and figure that out as soon as you can.
Like beginning of the semester kind of thing. And I know when I was an undergrad, the practice room situation varied a lot. But in general, it was outside of the time that you signed up for, you might have a hard time finding a room. Whereas when I was in grad school, the situation was a little bit different. And then I was also renting a room in a townhouse, and it was all right with my roommates to get a small piano in there. So I was able to practice there or at the music school. And so just making that a priority from the beginning will help you tremendously.
Because regardless of what you want to do with your musical life, whether it's go into music education or to be a performer or to be a music therapist or any of the other options, your primary thing in music school is to get to play your instrument or learn to sing better.
Yes.
So to make sure that your practicing is successful, really take your teacher seriously. Figure out a way to remember everything they say in lessons. So for example, the camera we're recording this on right now, I used to take that to my violin lessons and just record my entire lesson so I didn't have to take notes during it. And then I would go sit immediately after my lesson and just spend time writing down notes, everything my teacher said. Especially if your teacher recommends any adjustments to your technique or the physicality or basic mechanics of how you're playing or singing. That's what you need to fix first.
And I would suggest
step away from the concertos. Do the scales, do the exercises, learn to release tension. This is what you need to do. This is what's the most important.
Yes. Personally, I like to go practice right after the lesson. So whenever possible anyway. That's what I would do in undergrad. The way my lesson schedule was set up in grad school wouldn't allow for that, but at least not easily.
Didn't you have 4-hour lessons in grad school?
Yeah, starting at 6 p.m. It was 3 to 5 hour lessons. So yeah, I like to record things. I use just digital audio recorder. I didn't usually use a video camera. And so I would have that to listen to later, but usually right after the lesson, I would go to the practice room unless I had a class. And then after class, I'd go to the practice room.
A really good idea is just like you make appointments for your classes, for your rehearsals, make appointments for practicing.
It's basically another class.
Consider it a class. Consider it an appointment. You have an appointment with yourself to practice. Put it in your calendar. Put it in your phone. Make sure there's a really obvious alert that pops up. And keep in mind that times when other people might be doing things like partying or going out with friends. I mean, we're not saying to be completely antisocial.
Right.
Networking is an important part of music school, and certainly
make friends. But
making friends is good, but the people you really want to be friends with are the ones who are going to be down the hall in the practice rooms with you on a Friday night.
That's true.
Those are the friends that you are going to really bond with and keep. So Friday nights, Saturday nights,
Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night.
Sunday morning can be a good time. Of course, if you go to church, that's really important too.
Or if you have a church job.
Yes. Right.
Which can be very handy in school because a lot of schools won't have you go to lessons or classes on Sunday. Some teachers might.
So if you're a pianist or someone with those skills.
If you can get a church job, even if it's just a little bit of extra spending money for meals or when you do go out for a social occasion, that can be very handy.
Right. So just to sum up, practice is your most important job.
Occupy the practice room.
Okay, are you really going to figure out how to put that?
I don't know if it'll be diagonal that way, but I'm going to put it somewhere.
Okay, so hashtag occupy the practice room.
Yes.
And if you have any practice tips or anything, tweet at us, which is at Argonath Duo, and hashtag occupy the practice room.
Yes, or comment down below.
Or tweet us a picture of you practicing in your practice room.
That's good too. Maybe we can feature you in a video.
Absolutely. And I can tell you guys now, as someone who now has to spend most of her waking hours teaching other people and telling other people how to practice, that practice time that you have right now in music school is so sacred and it's so special, and you're not going to get that again in your life. So really make the most of the time that you have. So practice regularly, take your teacher seriously, make technical changes immediately, and figure out where and how you can practice to really maximize your time.
Yeah, try to do what your teacher says the first time.
It makes life a lot easier.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.